So without further ado, can I now invite Tyrell to come and speak to us about how he built his online empire? I've got a couple of pointers here to give to Tyrell and what he's going to go through. Just on like what does he do, how he got started. I find this one story about Tyrell and how he leveraged this so-called weakness of his to actually build the online. So often we think we have to have everything together and perfect, and how he actually built those programs. How also just a couple of tips on how he used Facebook and Messenger. He's a wizard on using Messenger. And then just a final tip, you know, all of that kind of coming together with, okay, what does that mean in terms of the mindset of scaling online? So no pressure. That's literally like a day's content, but you know, carry on. I really look forward to hearing from this. Thanks for joining us tonight, Tyrell, to share your story.
Thank you for having me, Suzanne. And thanks to everyone that made, you know, sacrifice the time to be on, you know, this call. I believe, you know, mastermind calls are so powerful. And the more I started to get around and knock heads with like-minded people is the more I grew. So just give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight, because believe me, like, you don't even understand the power of just being on these calls. But basically, my name's Tyrell Wilson, from Birmingham, United Kingdom. Basically grew up in a poor area, grew up in gangs, you know, just in a very deprived area where, you know, the statistics would have, you know, how our environment deals with us. There's only two ways: it's either dead or in prison. And believe me, like, I made a lot of mistakes growing up, not understanding why. And then it got to a stage in my life where literally I was almost in a life or death situation. And it's that moment I woke up and decided I can no longer do that no more. And it's not long after that, my actual nan told me about this woman named Suzanne who does, you know, online business and so forth. And she brought me to this event where it was in Albury. And basically from there, sat down, I was trying to feel out Suzanne. I knew a bit about online marketing, and I was literally like, a bit sketchy. But literally, she delivered, and then we got to speaking after. I think I ended up signing up for a program, right? And then from that, we talked closely, and then it led from that moment. And just literally a few months before that, I got married. I was working at DPD, and I hated the job. And I decided just after I got married to quit my job. Didn't have no money in the bank. My wife thought I was an absolute idiot. And it was literally at that time I spent like my last, I think it was £103 on a 2-day seminar on social media marketing and all that great stuff. And I really started to learn, and I didn't stop. I just, everything I could find online. And it was at Suzanne's event that I really got a lot of golden nuggets that I took away from there. I took notes, and I just began to pursue you know, online marketing and the potential. And then not long after that, like, because I'm an introvert, so I'm a very to myself person. Like, it's hard for me to speak in front of people and so forth. And I remember Suzanne give me this challenge to do a video every day, speak in the video every day, get used to speaking on video. And it was really hard. And some days I'd be up in my dressing gown with dribble on it, and I'm speaking in the video, and I'm just talking gibberish, playing them back like, what the heck are you doing? And literally, I didn't know that that was my training ground that was training me to then be able to, a year later and still now, you know, speak at events or speak on online webinars or on courses that I have, or mastermind events that I put on to a lot of my students across the world, you know, all over the world. And it's actually insane now, just knowing that it all started from that one discussion where Suzanne challenged me. But fast forward a bit later, at the time I didn't really have the cash, but I came across an online masterclass just about growing your tribe, your community, creating an online course. I decided to then, you know, take out my credit card and pay for this $97 program. But I had in my mindset that I was going to make sure I made my money back. That was just literally in my mind. Like, I burnt every other bridge. And from there, that exact program made me, within my first year, I think it was just shy of 50K K, and it continued to grow. And that was me creating online courses, people from all over the world buying my courses online, growing my own Facebook group, which is now just over 5K members. Literally, like, I used to do lives in there with literally one person watching online, and it was very disheartening at the time, but you have to start somewhere. So from there, I was able to grow an online agency. I now service local businesses, not only just in the UK, in the US, Australia, basically running their advertisements through social media. I've been able to grow that business and actually automate a lot of it now. And now I do a lot of consulting and do a lot of masterminds and charge a lot for my mentorships. And that's literally been a journey that took place from just making that decision to invest in myself. And I believe everyone on this call today, even if you invest, £10 in yourself, you will be able to reap a reward from it. Because like I said, we're in an information age now. Information's flying across the internet at speeds we can not even understand. And this is why it's the perfect time to get online, to create information programs that other people can benefit from. So basically, I literally leveraged the weakness that I had being an introvert and changed it in a total opposite direction to growing a business. So basically, in a nutshell, what I wanted to just speak on, just as you was talking, Suzanne, about progressive product ladders, you also have something called a value ladder. Now, that works hand in hand with your product ladder, because you should always have different tiers in your products, because you have to understand you're going to be catering and servicing people who are at the beginner stage, who don't have a clue about the concepts or the type of niche that you bring into them. You're going to have people who know a bit but want to kind of advance, and then you're going to have people who have reached a successful place but now they need to really dive deep into it. So you always want to have a program that's focused on surface level, then that goes in a bit more depth, and then in deeper depth, because you have to understand how we consume information as well. There's different ways we consume it. And if I was to now get someone who's never grown a business and train them not just on how to build an online business, branding, building systems behind it, removing themselves from a business so that now that they can scale, so now they're not actually the hindrance to their business, I wouldn't be able to do it all in one program, because we'd be here till God knows when. So you have to understand, you have to break down your knowledge into bite-sized pieces so that someone who doesn't have a clue of how to actually go from A to B, you're going to give them the actual steps. And then when they get to B, you're able to get them to C, to D, to E. And literally through product tiers, you can start as little, I was doing like lead magnets. So not only did I have my Facebook group, but I would create like little cheat sheets on a specific, a specific concept or topic, trying to get them to understand, like, here's how to build your business, or here's how to prospect to get clients for your business. And I'm basically giving them a roadmap and walking them through it. Now I'm giving this away for free. That's bringing them into my world. Then I can get them to join my Facebook groups. I can get them on my email listing and so forth. And then that's how I'm able to upsell them onto other programs. Because you have to understand, people buy emotionally and logically. So just as Suzanne was talking about copywriting, and I feel like you've challenged me tonight, Suzanne, to kind of condense everything in 10 minutes, because I could literally go so many different places. But copywriting is a key part of your marketing, because you have to understand your ideal audience. You need to be able to get into their head. You need to know them like the back of your hand. So research is important, understanding who you're servicing, what they like to do in their spare time, their desires, their fears, all these things. Because with copywriting, you're crafting together a message that's going to not only speak to them emotionally, but logically. So you have to understand, you're basically painting in their head a picture of how you're going to take them from here, down the yellow brick road, into the promised land. And you have to make sure that you can communicate your message on an emotional level as well. Because for me, I have kids, I have a wife. So for me, I don't want to build a business that's now going to hinder me from spending more time with my family. So now you want to make sure that you have a solution that can solve my problem. So you're going to now speak to me and get a message across that's basically going to deal with my fears, which I don't want to be, you know, in a 9 to 5 or stuck in a 9 to 9 or a 9 to 12. But basically, you're going to create me basically a course, a program that's going to enable me to be able to free myself from a business to have more time to spare with my family. So that's my desire. So as long as you can communicate that message through copywriting, you can be able to sell me. It's all about selling. And that's one of the key things. So the product ladder is very important because you're going to be servicing people on a beginner's level, an advanced, and an expert level. And as long as you have your tiers, I bought a program at 97. I'm now going on to spending, you know, 8 to 10 sometimes K on masterminds. I'm currently in a 6-month one where it's enabling me now to automate and do a lot more in business. And I believe I couldn't get to that stage and spend money on a 10K if I didn't first start on a beginner level and start at 97 and start to get the general concept of and the foundation of what I was, you know, pursuing. So when creating your courses, just think of that journey of someone like me who hasn't come across this before, doesn't know much about it. How are you going to now break down in a program that I'll be able to consume, whether it's at, you know, 97 or if it's at 17 pounds? How are you going to make me consume this in a way that it's not going to bombard my brain, it's not going to confuse me, but it's enough to basically make me understand and then be able to want to learn more? Because that's what you that's basically your whole, you know, that's the whole key. You want to make them, you want to entice them enough that they want to learn more. So you don't give away everything. Not that you're trying to hold back, but for their own good, because you've got something called analysis paralysis. So you want to make sure that you give them enough that's going to help them, benefit them, but that's not going to bombard them and confuse them and get them stuck. So also just listening to the call, I know Suzanne, you was talking about, you know, taking action and so forth. And one of the biggest killers that you'll face in business is if you spend too much time trying to perfect. So always go for imperfect action. Always take action before you actually fully understand. Reason being, you're going to always hit different walls, different challenges. You're going to get negative feedback. Maybe this program, maybe this launch didn't go well. How can I do better? So you're going to continuously be tweaking and pivoting to enable you to basically, you know, get down that road that you're trying to get down past all those walls that you just basically hit. So one of the main things that you want to do is take action. Take action before you procrastinate. If you know that you need to write up a plan, do it now. Do it today. If you know that you need to launch by next week, make sure that you're doing things daily that you launch by next week. Because the minute that you try to perfect is the minute that you're going to lose a grip on the momentum that you're trying to build. So it's always important to launch before you're even ready. I've done it many times. I've created courses. I've had people buy courses off me that I haven't even created yet. And week by week, I'm taking them through and then I'm asking for their feedback. How did you find this week? And I'm tweaking it. Now I might do this at a discount because we're taking them through the testing phase of this product. So they've got something called a beta product. So you can actually not have a product and actually be creating it as you go along, each module by module. So I've done it and I've made over 10 grand off just doing that. This is people paying me for a program that I haven't actually fully built out yet, but they've helped me and give me feedback that now I can make the product better. So it wasn't perfect to start off. I done imperfect action on the product, but because now I've got people in it, it's pushing me to have to continuously create the product that when it's finished, I can get feedback and then tweak it and make it better. So that's one thing I want to leave with you. It's just speed to execution. You want to make sure that you just constantly execute. And if Suzanne says, look, you know, jump, just jump. not, you know, but you know what I mean? But if Suzanne says, look, you need to get this launched by next week, get it launched by next week, even if you don't feel ready. Because one thing you don't want to take over is procrastination. So I hope I haven't really, you know, bored you on that, but that was just my experience. And sometimes we get this thing called imposter syndrome where we don't feel qualified enough. We don't feel like we're as good as others, that we should be telling other people or teaching other people or, you know, coaching other people. But everyone is a teacher. Everyone's a coach. Even if you're just at the intermediate level, you can train and coach someone who's a beginner because you've already gone past that. So don't ever feel that you're not good enough or you're not at a place where you can actually teach other people or coach other people. And that's one thing that I wanted to leave with you. Now, the whole Facebook and Messenger, I could be here all day going over it, but it's where you need to be at. It is where you need to be at. Facebook, we're dealing with over 2 points. I don't even know. It's climbed up so much, but we're dealing with 2 billion plus monthly users on a platform that literally, I made my first 50K literally from a Facebook group that I grew all organically. I didn't spend any form of money, no marketing, and I was able to leverage that group to create programs. I was able to set up sales funnels and test them with my organic traffic and perfect them before I run ads to them. So there's loads of ways that you can test. There's loads of ways you can tweak as you go along, but don't think that you have to have a perfect program straight off the gate, because sometimes you're going to launch it. Some of the students might not get the best results. So you have to go back to the drawing board. How can it improve my customer journey? How can it improve how they're consuming my information? How can I simplify it? How can I condense it down that they can understand it and they're getting results? Because if they can get results on your smallest tier product, that means they'll be ready for your intermediate. That means once they go through the intermediate, they'll be ready for your expert. One of my mentorships is 5K. I didn't ever think in whole entire being, I would able to be charging that and people would actually trust me enough to invest, pull out their credit card and buy that from me. But believe me, they will do the same for you because everyone's an expert in their own field. But it starts with structure. What can you cater to a beginner's level? What can you cater to an intermediate? Then what can you cater to an expert level? Because for me, I had to go through beginner, I had to go through intermediate. And at every different level, you're going to meet new challenges that are going to need different solutions. So as long as you can provide the solution to that problem, you'll always be winning. You'll be able to scale your business a lot more. So just think about these things. And I think eventually when Suzanne does get me back on, I'll be able to show you some, because I'm at my mother-in-law, so I've actually just step out and just quickly do this talk. But I'll be able to show you some of the funnels that I've actually used, how I've leveraged giving away something for free and people then going through my funnel, buying my upsell, which was $17, then buying another upsell that's $97, all in one funnel. Then some of them took the leap and bought the $497 and then so forth. And it's a tier because some people are going to say, well, I'm not at the beginner, I'm at advanced, so that doesn't apply to me, so I'm going to need this. So you have to make sure you have different products, different tiers that can cater to different levels of the student that you're trying to bring on board. But I hope that was, I could go on, and there's so much, and there's so much that I'm still learning, so much that I've learned, you know, from 2 years ago to now. But like I said, it all came from mistakes. It all came from failing, going back to the drawing board, tweaking, and literally just pivoting and tweaking until finally I got it right. And then even when I thought I got it right, I realized there's more to it and I had to learn more. So it's always a learning game, and you can actually set up your products to do the same thing so that when someone gets to that place where they feel like, yep, they've learned it all, and then they realize they're faced with more problems, you have another product that can solve that. So that is all I actually have at the minute. Because like I said, I don't want to take up all the mastermind, but like I said, everyone's an expert. Everyone is awesome. Even the fact that you've, you know, sacrificed your time to be on this call, believe me, it's going to help. And it's those little tweaks. It's those mindset shifts. Every time you hit a new obstacle, it's getting on these type of calls, learning from people who's been where you've been and are where you want to be. And believe me, it's just those little pivots that are going to really help to change the game for you. So thank you for all listening to me. I hope no one isn't sleeping.
Oh my
falling
God,
asleep.
no, can we just
Well,
come
thank
out?
you.
I can see already in the chat, it says, wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow, amazing. Thank you, Tyrell. Oh my
very
No
God,
problem.
impressive.
you can all see why how I've learned so much from Tyrell. And you know what, already from the first moment when I met Tyrell, he has an abundance of knowledge. I don't know how you remember so many facts, but seriously, one of the most amazing people and trainers. So you can imagine that when I met Tyrell for the first time, he's speaking like this, and he said, "I'm never doing videos, no way." And all the people, they need you. Like, people need you, and all he's doing, he's analyzing everything to do with marketing, the things that other people would find incredibly boring. Please don't take for granted what you know, because it is truly valuable, a huge deal for many people potentially. And when you start to then scale, I love what Tyrell said there, and just briefly, I could point out lots of things from there, but just one of the most important things is what Tyrell said there is always about learning. You know, we're all evolving, right? But don't assume that you know what the customer needs. This is a danger area, because I have done that myself. Sometimes, oh, well, this is what everybody needs. Maybe, but not in the same way. It's not said in the same way. It's not. And also, like Tyrell said, constantly going through the process and collecting the feedback, and launching a product before it's ready. You know what most people say? They say, oh, I don't want to put myself under that pressure. You do want to put yourself under that pressure, because otherwise it won't get done. If you sell the program once, you have to create the content that you've been thinking about for years.